This is Ronan, Rocky Mountain Pro Superstar and professional wrestling's only true vampire, and you are listening to RMP Radio, where pro wrestling is elevated.
RMP Radio is back on the air. Hi, I am your host, Mr. Fourth Row, and joining me once again back on the show, I've got Zamore. Zamore, sir, how are you doing?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. Trying to get through these dog days of summer, like they call it, here in August every year, and boy, it's been crazy around here with us for, oh god, all our haze, and not from what you would think it would be from, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
So, get you back on the thing. I wanted to kind of something that piqued my curious recently. I was at, listeners may know that the All-Star game for baseball was in Denver this year, and I went to the Colorado Convention Center. They had the play ballpark set up, and one of the booths they had was about cryptocurrency, and specifically it was a block folio. Now I think FTX that is kind of in partnership with Major League Baseball. I submitted did a $10 deposit into my Blockfolio account in order to gain access to a World Series ticket giveaway. So keep my fingers crossed that I'll win World Series tickets for this upcoming year, but we'll see. But so it kind of piqued my interest, and I said, well, who can I have on the show and maybe get in depth? And I know we've talked about it a little before, talking about cryptocurrency, and that is Zamore. So we'll have him get us start off. So we're gonna go in depth, like I said. So how did the concept of cryptocurrency began? Like way back in quite a while ago, actually, I believe, right?
Yeah, so actually in 2008 was the first time anyone ever even heard the idea of blockchain or cryptocurrency. There was I guess a convention or a meeting. There was like a group that was basically meeting about different technologies or different uh, presenting different technologies and proof of concepts. And somebody there, nobody really knows who he is, I guess, or who that person is. They just went by, a Satoshi. This person wrote up the blueprint for blockchain and what later would become Bitcoin. And it did take a while for it to pick up. Like I said, it started in 2008, and you started to see Bitcoin, and it was, fractions of a cent. It was just an idea back then, and it slowly started to pick up steam until where we're at today. It took a while. It took over 10 years before it was taken seriously, but now what's taken seriously is the technology itself called blockchain, which is basically data that's stored in blocks. And as the block gets filled, a new one will come along, or a new one will start to get filled. And once enough of those are filled, it becomes a block. And then it gets chained together. The idea is so that no information is changed from its inception all the way to the end, and it does a proof of a proof of stake or a proof of work, meaning if you have a piece of this blockchain, a token or coin, there's many names for it, then it creates value by it running basically it verification by you having a piece of it. It verifies itself every single time, and it keeps basically the information honest. It prevents anybody from changing it or from any alterations. So you can't really commit fraud with it, and you can't just make up numbers. You can't just create Bitcoin, for example, out of thin air. So it's a very good technology that could be used as a currency, and so most coins these days are created to try to be that a form of value, a form of currency, and it's kind of like I would look at it much closer like a stock, a piece of a company that you can hold value in, and so that's basically the summary of cryptocurrencies and blockchain.
Right. Yeah, and to my understanding, kind of way to maybe also in depth on a blockchain, like you kind of mentioned there, they kind of connect together when a block gets filled, but it's also to make sure everything is validated, whether ownership transfership, and things of that nature.
Yes, absolutely. So it keeps things honest. It keeps things from any fraud or anything happening. So what you're getting is 100% what you're getting when you do any type of transaction concerning cryptocurrencies.
Yeah. And kind of interesting that 2009 was when this kind of started really taking up, because 2008 we had the little bit of that we had that recession, so it was just kind of a right time, right place for that to start taking steam, I guess.
Yeah, and it was actually because of it that people started to, I guess, I would say, lose trust in our current economic system. Money, I guess, our dollar bill is inherently the way it's created. It's created to inflate over time, and so somebody decided to create I guess a form of currency or a type of money that does not inflate over time. It actually deflates over time, and so that is the blueprint of Bitcoin. Many people, because the technology itself can't be changed, you can't alter it, you can't do anything. All you can do is fork off and create your own version of it. That's why you see many different kinds of coins these days. You see, like Bitcoin Cash. You see Bitcoin this. You hear about Ethereum, which is a different type of, basically a different type of, how do I say it in layman's terms, a code that is used. So there's different codes that are used. There's, Ethereum network. There's a Bitcoin network. There's definitely more networks that people have created that answer different things. Bitcoin, though it was like the first concept of it, it's the most primitive, the most outdated. It would, if anybody's ever purchased Bitcoin, when it's very, very popular, you will notice that it will take quite a while for you to send and receive. So the higher the value it goes, the higher the fee goes, and the longer the transactions take. And those are, problems that exist with the original Bitcoin the way it is. And so people decided to try to create their own versions that will tackle those issues, like something the transactions would be much quicker, fees much lower, all these different things, and so that's why now you see a bunch of different kinds of cryptocurrencies. Some, just like I said, view it like stocks. Think about it like the .com bubble or any type of economic bubble like that. There's a lot of hype behind it. There's going to be a lot of people that get involved in it that will just create something just for the sake of trying to capture that lightning in a bottle. And so some, just like some stocks came around that didn't actually do anything. They're just there to try to cash in on the hype in the moment. So you will see a lot of coins. One of them that's very, very popular that actually shocked me, if you might have heard of it, is called the Doge coin. Mm-hmm. I'm sure people have heard of it in pop culture recently. That coin was actually created as a joke, as a meme, to prove that people would just buy anything if you put hype behind it. And so it's a coin that worked exactly as advertised, and now you have people like Elon Musk that want to take over that coin and make it into a legitimate coin, which is very shocking to me. That you take something that was created to be a joke, and now it's something that's legitimate.
Yeah, I've also heard Dogecoins and the such also be called for lack of a better word, they're called shitcoins.
Yes, because they don't do anything in the real world.
Yeah.
There's coins that for example, there's a coin called VeChain, which is handles logistics when it comes to shipping items. It will be able to track the items you ship, mainly food products, from beginning to end, and that's something that I feel like has practical use in the real world.
Yeah.
You would like to know anything that you're ordering or buying, where it comes from, the chain and the journey it took, and so that could help. While there's coins just like they call them shit coins, they just don't do anything at all. You just buy them and hope that the hype alone will create value, and most of the time it's just like what they call in the stock world a pump and dump schemes.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and I noticed that, for example, just kind of going to, like I said, because I've gotten into I created a digital wallet with FTX because of their partnership with baseball, and they're calling each one of those markets. So it is kind of like you mentioned, it's kind of like a stock market kind of thing. You can see what the price is, kind of what the chain is, what the rank of them, and of course, like you said, Bitcoin and Ethereum are at the top there. Dogecoin, number 7, believe it or not.
Yeah, very shocking. It's above coins that are legitimate.
Yeah.
But that goes to show you that you put hype behind something, and it could it'll be valuable. Like look at the what they call the flower hype. I forgot which one, what type of flower it was, but in the 1800s, there was the flower boom that crashed. There was the internet boom. There's booms all the time that just get hyped up and people buy into it, and then overvalued. So right now, I think with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is the thing.
Right. Now we did talk about this a little bit last time, but we should maybe kind of go to the base and how do these cryptocurrency bitcoins and the such, how do they actually be created? It's a process called mining, right?
Yeah, so first you have to create the blockchain itself, the network, and people build it off the Ethereum or the SHA-256, which is the Bitcoin network. Mm-hmm. You build the blockchain, and then from there, then you can start. You create. I guess I'm not sure if it's created by the owner itself or how they discuss it, but they create then a volume, the amount of coins that they want to create. They create that out of thin air, and then they have to try to spread the coins around, because the way most coins or the most cryptocurrencies work is a proof of stake, which means just owning a piece of it will it will self-verify. Like, by owning a piece of it is the same as mining, basically, and it will verify transactions, and it will keep your currency honest. But then there's other coins that they people build, they create, they hype, and then they just keep pumping more volume into it, seemingly out of nowhere. And so coins, it takes somebody out there has to develop the code, and then they have to try to convince people to buy into the code for whatever reason, and then that's how it spreads and it gets started.
Ah, I see.
It'll have to start with basically a group of people that will then kickstart it, and then they'll start to buy in their own shares and selling them to try to get the wheel going, and then from there they you market it and try to push it onto people.
Yeah.
There's many ways of doing it because cryptocurrency is so young. You see a lot of Reddit posts, you see internet posts, you see a lot of hype everywhere, and sometimes it's hard to tell what's legitimate and what's just a scheme.
Right. Yeah, that makes total sense. So, So speaking of hype and things like that, so there's a lot of people that are getting interested and investing, coming up with their own companies and things they like to to invest in. And one of the ones I kind of did a little bit of research looking into this. The Winklevoss twins of the social network fame. They created their own company to help start people getting invested in this. Is that correct?
Yes, they have. They definitely have shifted from from Facebook and all that social media stuff to now. Yeah, they're heavily involved in cryptocurrencies. Um, I believe, I'm not sure if they created their own coin, their own token, but yeah, they're really heavily involved in trying to be like an e-trade in a sense,
Yeah.
a platform where you can go and learn how to trade and buy and sell cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, and so what people do, like we were kind of mentioning before, people you have to get in order to start getting involved. You have to get a digital wallet, and that is what stores the what's called the public and private keys uh, to be able to send or receive or invest in cryptocurrency. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there's digital wallets. There's hardware versions and software versions. Ones that you can buy would look like a USB drive, and you keep that physical hardware wallet on yourself. And then there's ones that you can set up and keep on your computer or in your phone. But yeah, it's virtual. It works just like a virtual wallet. It keeps the data stored on there, and as long as it's connected to the network of everything else, it's legitimate. It what you're getting there is the true numbers. There's nothing skewed, nothing manipulated. And I say that because you hear things about Robinhood
Mm-hmm.
and E-Trade and apps like that you think you're buying into certain things, but you're actually buying into a lot more than you think you are. These apps are kind of like set up in a way where they take your information, your trading information, and that's the real value, and they sell that. That's how they make their money. And so a lot of these apps kind of like suggest or hint to you what you should buy, and so if you really listen to it kind of trains you to um, purchase up things and sell things as they want you to make money for themselves. So there's a lot of trust issues
Mm-hmm.
that I personally have with these apps, but there's a lot of companies that are modeling their cryptocurrency platforms after these trades, and so it's very difficult to really get heavily involved into trading without understanding that there is potential risk and manipulation of markets, just like stocks would be.
Mm. And so what should people look out for if they want to get involved, or what kind of advice do you have for people if they want to, at least there's the people that are saying, hey, I just want to own a fraction of something, and then there's to everywhere that somebody that wants to get heavily involved. What's your advice on that?
Definitely, I would say definitely look into research, and if you want to buy, you should own a piece. I always say people should always own stock as well,
Mm-hmm.
but don't buy up stock or don't buy up currency with the idea of trying to, I guess, get rich
Mm-hmm.
quick. The investing, the way I see it, is a long-term game. I'm not really big into trading or day trading or any swing trading, things like that involve my attention to be there all the time. But I would buy something that I feel, for example, will do well in a long term or in the future. Similar to how you would, if you're buying a stock, you want to make sure that company that you're buying into, it does well. And so I look at the company, what it does, what it's trying to do. It's white paper, as they say. And then if it looks like something that has real world practicality and real world use, then I will want to invest into that. And I invest looking at maybe 5 to 10 years down the road, seeing something grow. So if you're going to invest, that's my personal way of tackling it. Something long term, it guarantees more of a return versus if you're trying to buy something now to sell it tomorrow. The market fluctuates and so it's too volatile for me to get involved into any type of trading.
Yeah.
So buy to hold on for long term. That's probably the best
Would you say it's
way.
would you say it's very difficult to make any money in short term in a short term with this?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
it's a lot more difficult in the crypto market than it would be even in stock, because the volume, the market cap is so low
Mm-hmm.
that one millionaire can come along and disrupt everything, and
Right.
so it's very difficult. And so you see swings daily, very wild, crazy swings up and down. So that scares a lot of people and makes people believe that it's too volatile to trust or to ever put money into. And then they'll put money into it and lose in a couple weeks or so and think like, oh, this is BS or something, and it's not worth buying into because it loses money. And so that's why I tell people, look long term, because the market's so young that it fluctuates very violently, and so it's not good to look at the short term.
Yeah. And one thing that I think we kind of were remiss that we kind of maybe forgot to talk about is with cryptocurrency. There is something when a new one comes out, it's called a initial coin offering. I guess it's very similar to IPO.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the kind of like, maybe because people probably are somewhat familiar with an IPO. A company goes public, they put the stocks out. What's a little bit different with an ICO when it comes to cryptocurrency versus an IPO?
Very similar.
Is it
It's
similar?
basically um, an event you do that you want to try to sell stock out to the public.
Okay.
You push the coin and you sell the tokens, and normally uh you know you're selling thousands and thousands at a time, to hopefully what you call whales, or people that can afford it,
Mm-hmm.
people that can jumpstart your company. So it's very similar to having a stock or a company and going to investors, and your company going public and trying to get investors to buy into it, trying to get everyday folk to buy into your company. Very similar. There'll be an event, an announcement, and then a big a sale, as one would say, to try to get people to buy into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And kind of going back to what we were talking about, investing. One of the things that I've seen around town every once in a while when you go to like a convenience store is you see Bitcoin ATMs. What's your thought about those versus like getting like a digital wallet via hardware or like you said, like an app?
Well, I mean, we're still in the transition phase, in my opinion, of going from cash to a more digital currency. So I think ATM is kind of like one of those in between things.
Mm-hmm.
You can use cryptocurrency to get cash. It's a great idea, but the fees involved with that, it's only do it if you really need to, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be one of those things. It's kind of like the 8-track in a sense, like one of those in between things where it's there, but eventually cash is going to kind of be phased out, and all you're going to have is digital currencies.
Yeah. And speaking of that, we got a lot of things happening. I think especially this year, there's a lot of not companies, countries that are looking into doing regulation. I think there's even one country out there that's looking to completely go digital currency. What can you tell the listeners about that we should maybe just keep an ear out for at least?
Yeah, so as we talked about, cryptocurrency has been around for basically a decade now. The idea of it, many countries more recently have started to look into the technology, looking into maybe adopting it as their own, a new form of technology based, or a new form of currency. Um, so you now are seeing China, you're seeing big countries like Russia that at one point were against it because, rightfully so. You have this technology called Bitcoin that came out of nowhere. Nobody seems to know who Nakamoto Satoshi is, which is the creator of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that you would be weary about adopting, especially since 25% of all Bitcoin is dormant, is in what they call zombie wallets that haven't been touched since 2008, 2009. And so some people think that whoever created Bitcoin, Satoshi, is just waiting for the right moment to, cash in on all his Bitcoin and destroy the market. So a lot of people don't trust it, I'm sure, especially governments. And so then they create they're working on creating their own blockchain currency that maybe they can replace their current currency with. And then there's some countries that don't want to, I guess, go under the petrodollar anymore, or the US dollar. And so they're getting away from that by creating their own cryptocurrency, or even just adopting Bitcoin.
Right. Yeah, because I think, for example, I think if I'm doing my research right, countries like Turkey has said that they're going to ban the use of cryptocurrencies for making any purchases. El Salvador, though, I think is going the exact opposite, and it looks like they will adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender, and they may be the first country in the world to do so. So it's interesting to see these different takes from all these countries, and ones and the bigger ones, like I said, China and Russia, and then of course us. We're looking into seeing what kind of, I think the SEC is, considering what steps to take on it to make sure that consumers are protected.
Yes, and we already have an office here in the United States that has to deal with cryptocurrencies. We're kind of actually one of the last countries to really be, yes, like this is something we want to adopt. We were actually the most weary. Canada and Japan and Taiwan, all these other countries are kind of ahead of the curve on us right now. They have been beta testing different cryptocurrencies in their country. You have companies like Starbucks, Walmart, BMW, huge companies that are getting into basically accepting cryptocurrency as a form of payment, and them using the blockchain themselves as well in whatever applications they do for their companies.
Yeah. Now, hey, speaking of that, I'm just kind of curious. When a company accepts, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, like for a payment, what does the company do? Does the company just hang on to it and put it together with everything that they own, like a big company like a Walmart? Do you think?
Yeah. So if they accept cryptocurrency, they're setting it up no different than accepting dollars or accepting credit. They can set up a wallet per se, and receive money just like you would cash or credit or anything like that.
Yeah.
The main thing that I've been seeing is them kind of companies just adopting the technology itself, the blockchain itself, not necessarily the money part of it, but just the technology part of it, and the more involved they are with the blockchain itself, then obviously the more value there is to the currency.
Oh, interesting. So, what do you see about the future of it? What do you think is going to be happening with it?
Well, I think eventually, every country's going to come up with their own. I don't think Bitcoin was the idea, the blueprint, the proof of concept that this can work.
Yeah.
And I think now people are going to refine and define their own version of crypto, currency. But the beauty about it is that cryptocurrencies can be traded with each other and work with each other. So you could have, for example, BMW coin, that you've been getting from BMW, for driving your BMW. Maybe in the future, BMW rewards their drivers with their own version of a token for owning a vehicle or whatever, and then you can take that token and trade it for maybe Starbucks token or something, Walmart, you can exchange it for something else. So instead of having a centralized currency like you would dollar, a central form of exchange, you can have many different coins, and they all kind of work with each other.
Yeah. Will there be any issues though if that happens of what one company's value over another company's value would be?
Well, 100%. It's just the same problem we have now with dollars. You
Right.
know, you have some countries that value their own currency much higher than we would value it. But that's why they have a central bank or a central entity that can say, yes, this is valued, this and that. And I'm pretty sure the Fed will have, will be pretty involved in cryptocurrencies and how they're traded and valued against others.
Yeah, yeah, and then so that may be quite a way down the road before that
Yes.
happens with countries and I would assume that countries first and probably like you mentioned maybe companies later, or do you think companies first and then countries will get this adopted?
I think companies first,
Mm-hmm.
but countries are already seeing its value. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing, just like China, they're starting to become or transition into full digital only. So if you go to China, you can download an app from their government website or their app store that is their own digital wallet where they can trade their own digital Chinese dollar. And so there's countries that are already rolling it out. And so I wouldn't be surprised, 5-10 years from now, if the main, or even only way of paying is through a digital wallet, whether it be Bitcoin or something completely new.
Mm. Yeah. So then, would that then involve, the way that, for example, we're all earning money and things like that? Would they have to be um, translated or somehow converted into, cryptocurrency? Like of course, we all earn a paycheck from our jobs or whatever, and then that would have to be, like I said, translated or converted over to cryptocurrency, or is it going to just be basically we're turning off this system, putting on this system?
I think it'll be like a slow phase out of just kind of seeing it similar to the way credit has played out.
Mm-hmm.
Credit was first, or the idea of like a credit card was first introduced in 1971. But you didn't really start seeing credit cards. I mean, I wasn't around, but just from studying it, you didn't really start seeing credit cards that common until maybe the late 80s or 90s. So it did take a while for it to kind of pick up steam. But if you look at it now, 98% of all currency around the world is digital already, or transactions happen digitally. So we're pretty much already there. The physical dollar you hold only makes up a very small fraction of our entire global market. So I think we're already there, and eventually people are just going to be used to no longer dealing with dollars,
Yeah.
and having an app or something where they can just quickly press a button and transaction done.
Yeah. That old cliche of cash is king is going to be gone.
Yeah, I mean, I think people just look at a cash as something different.
Yeah, it's gonna be a relic.
Yeah, people will be putting up dollars on their walls, like, look at these old ancient artifacts.
Yeah, so true. Okay, so kind of wrapping this thing up. So to the listeners, like I said, if they are curious on doing this, what steps should they take? Should they go and find a digital wallet to open up an account with and to invest in, and if so, should they, like I said, very curious, just like for me, just maybe put $10, $20, $50, something like that in there, and then choose something, choose one of the coins to invest in, and just kind of, like I said, write it out.
Yeah, what I would suggest is really study. There's many tokens out there. I would suggest is don't just follow the hype train and whatever is the buzzword of the day, the token of the day to buy it. I think you should look into the token itself like you would be looking into a company that you're looking to invest in. And if you like what they're about, what they're talking about, what their messages, then you can invest into them. Don't invest your life savings. Never do that.
No.
My whole thing is always 10% of anything, like 10%. That's it, no more than that. But if you like something, you like a token, yes, get yourself a digital wallet. There's many out there. Coinbase is the most common one here in America. They're pretty well tied with the IRS now and the U.S. government, so they're pretty trusted. And they have most of the major coins. There's thousands of coins out there, but you don't really want to pay attention to all those coins. There's a lot of trusted, already established major coins that are listed on those big wallets. So get one of those wallets. Really study, you'll see a list of different coins. You'll see different values to them. Don't pay attention to the value, because the first thing a lot of people say is, well, I can't afford Bitcoin. I can't buy Bitcoin. It's, 20, 30,000, whatever, $1,000. And I have to tell them, like, well, you could buy fractions of it. You could buy up to the eighth decimal point of a fraction. You could buy $10 worth if you want. You could buy $20 worth. And you should always put in only when you can afford, and think about it like a stock that you're going to sit on it for it to develop and pick up value over time. Right now, the markets are still young. There's still money to be made if you're holding, but don't pay attention to the fluctuations on the daily basis. Just look at it long term, and I'm talking years down the road.
Oh yeah, because it takes a while for these cryptocurrencies to would the right word be called, to mature and to mine out, basically.
Yeah, because over time, just like how Bitcoin's set up, it deflates over time. So over time, it grows in value versus decrease in value. So it's good to hold on long term. As long as you hold on for a long term, you're always sure to gain profit.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, because I think at the time of this recording, I think a single Bitcoin is worth just a hair over $43,000. And so
it's a lot, yeah. And had you bought at the all-time high in 2016, 17, when it was $20,000, you'd still be double, tripling your profits today.
Yeah, right.
So even if you were to buy now at the highest point, in my personal opinion, 5 years from now, it'll be a lot more than that.
Yeah. Now, you personally, you dabbling a little bit in this?
Yeah, I've been dabbling in it for a while. Nothing too crazy extensive, but I've had my bag, as they call it, of coins for quite a few years.
Yeah. Now, if I may ask, and of course we'll preface this by you are not don't take your advice to all the legal ramifications, this and that. But which coin do you like, and which digital wallet do you like?
Personally, I use a physical wallet.
Okay.
There's Trezor, Ledger. I have myself a Ledger, physical wallet that I can hold. I don't have to worry about any, computer issues, any internet issues, no hacking problems, because anything could happen on the internet. You can have a very secure digital wallet, and that company itself can get hacked and shut down. Things could happen. Mm-hmm. So it's better to have something physical that you can have on yourself, just in case. So I have a Ledger, and as far as coins are concerned, again, not financial advice. This is just something that I personally buy for myself. But I do have always a piece of Bitcoin, just because that's the main coin that exists currently out there. I do have Ethereum, because that's also a main coin that exists out there. But I also have coins like VeChain, because they, like I said, they deal with shipping and logistics. I have other coins that I just see as investments for the future. But I don't want to get too deep into the coins that I have.
Yeah, I get you.
But all I can say is that the coins that I do have, you can find on Coinbase. You can find on all the major exchanges that exist out there. They're pretty big coins that have already been vetted and trusted, and I feel will be around for a long time.
Awesome. That's great. Well, fantastic, Zamore. I do want to thank you for coming on, and hopefully that did not overwhelm the listeners. And like I said, if they're curious, that's why I wanted to have you on and talk about that. Before I do let you go, though, remind the listeners they wanted to follow up with you, like on the social media, see what you got going on in the wrestling field, or maybe even if they have just a simple cryptocurrency question for you. I assume they can reach out to you and ask you that as well.
Yes, absolutely. They could always find me at RMP _ Jumbo, RMP _ Zamore, ZAMORE. They could find me there any social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Feel free to send me any message, ask me any questions concerning wrestling or cryptocurrencies. I'm happy to answer it. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I can't give you advice on how to get rich, but I can give you advice on how the technology works,
Right.
to help you make better decisions.
All right. Awesome. Like I said, once again, thank you for coming on, and I guess I will be seeing you in the future.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for having me on, Artie.
Once again, a big, huge thank you to Zamore for once again coming on the show and having a little bit of fun talking Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and everything in between. All right, so before we get out of here, let's pay some bills like they used to say back in the day. You want to get some merchandise of your favorite Rocky Mountain Pro superstars, a few things that I'd like you to do. Head over to our merch store at rmpwrestling.com. Click on the merchandise link and you'll be presented with a lot of choices to choose from there. Buy something, will ya? You can also go into the Amazon.com or the Amazon app and search for Rocky Mountain Pro, and you'll find things there as well. If you'd like to purchase a RMP radio shirt, cheap plug, I do have those in hand and also on my pro wrestling tees. Additionally, these Rocky Mountain Pro superstars, find out if they've got a pro wrestling tees or brainbuster tees as well if you'd like to support them, and please do so. Upcoming events, head over to rmpwrestling.com, click on the events link. We do have one this coming Friday. We're back at Romero's Canine Club and Tap House up in Lafayette, Colorado. One of the most craziest, unique places that we go to on the regular basis. It's such a fun time. I hope you will join us. It's going to be a fantastic time. And of course, the elephant in the room with this, this is an outdoor event. So we've only got a few left for the remaining of this year, so don't miss out. I hope to see you all there. In the meantime, watch us out there on twitch.tv/Rocky Mountain Pro, on the YouTube at youtube.com/Rocky Mountain Pro. Of course, you can find us on Fight TV as well. We would greatly appreciate it if you do, though. Get that subscription over on Twitch. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you do get a Twitch subscription in your membership. It's like I said, included right there. But if you do have yours already tied up, it's a nominal fee, like $5.99 a month, to get that second one if you already have yours others tied up. In the meantime, also too, follow us out there on the social media. First, visit rmpwrestling.com for all that information, everything that's happening month to month. And then, of course, on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram of the Rocky MTN Pro. Phonetically, once again, spell that for you. That's the Rocky Mike Tango November Pro. And then, of course, RMP on Twitch with the same social media follows on the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Thank you all for listening to this edition of RMP Radio, where pro wrestling is elevated.